Hello, hello, hello.
You say hello, I say goodbye.
Yeah, actually, I did my mic check version of that instead of the the um the version I used to just check to make sure that YouTube is sounding right and it's not garbled or anything like that. So how you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Hungry,
Yourself?
which is why I have food in front of me.
Ah,
Yes, but we
well,
cannot see
at least
that.
you haven't turned off your avatar and shown us yourself live there. So you know. uh, all right.
Yeah, I sometimes come on stream, but not when I'm eating. If I'm eating, all you get is the avatar. You don't need to see me masticate at all.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. Let's see. So, we just chat for a couple minutes before let people see if we can let people come in. Yeah, you did come in a little late on the Friday show there, Metal. Um, what do you remember any of the portions that we were reading from? Because I only got through a couple of features. But,
No, I was in and out a little bit. Like I tried to pay attention. It was just a very busy night for me.
okay. Oh, and you did get my message that if you wanted to, you could also invite Marsupial if he wanted to join
Yeah,
us.
I got the message.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So have you guys decided to stay where you are, or
Yeah, but though specifically on Friday, I was moving a lot of stuff. I'm in a different room than I was
uh,
before.
yeah?
Hmm.
Well, that's I guess good that you guys decided to stay in the spot apartment or
Um,
whatever.
I don't know if I guess it's good. It comes with an $800 rent increase.
Hmm.
Ouch.
Metal, you want to tell Rick what you and I talked about yesterday?
Oh, yeah, you just got me back on the schedule. I'm gonna be filling in. Who was it that
Well, no,
Tim
your
had to
your
move,
next
right?
scheduled date's the 14th. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Rick is this Friday, and then you're next Friday, the 14th, July 14th.
Mm,
So
cool.
so right as of right now, I have Rick for this Friday, you for next Friday, and then RJ on the 21st, Tim for the 28th, and then RJ back again on August 18th, um, Apex on the 25th, and
Yeah,
RJ again on September 29th. So, um,
yeah. I'll probably end up taking the first Friday in August. I think it is.
mhm. Yeah. Well, if I can get the rotation back in order again, it should be one of those things. Aside from RJ, it should be one of those things where it's like when you once you guys are done with the day that you are currently scheduled, you can just pick up the next available opening. Hopefully
Yeah, as long
RJ's
as
maybe
it.
one I have to kind of do it like 3 months in advance because he's got a bunch of stuff he does. Like he's got the LCS shows he does twice a month, and then he does family thing one other Friday. So it's just whichever Friday he kind of got open. Then so we usually have to ask him about that ahead of time. But hopefully, if Apex likes and I can get Apex regular, then we'll be back up to five. With Tim, Rick, and RJ, and you, Metal. So, um, yeah. So again, I figured if I had a rotation of about 5 to 7, that'd be good because then that would come out about every 6 weeks or so. So hmm. And of course, for everybody, those who might be in the chat as well as our panels here, if you haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here, that'd be appreciated. Also, if there's anything grabs your attention in what we talk about tonight, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and we will try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So, all right, let's see. Where are we at on time here? We're just past 5 minute mark. So, all right, why don't we go ahead and do intros? We'll go counterclock. I'll start with metal tonight, and then go to Rick. And so if you guys want to share any links as well, you can put them in the chat for and I'll highlight them, of course. So we'll start with you, metal, and go back to Rick. Want to give us a little intro as to who you are, what you do? Share any links that you'd like.
Sure. I'm the Metal. I create a publication called X Dynamis Chaos, which is a variety of comics and pulps. One by the main name X Dynamis Chaos that you can find on my website. They're usually comedic action adventure, but I dabble in a variety of things. There's even a horror story on my site. And you can, if you want to purchase anything, you can find it specifically at that link.
All right, and if you'd like to share any links in the chat.
Yeah, it'll take a second to show up on
Oh, there we go. And what link is this?
This is the link to the store. I have to put in that quotation, store page on X Dynamis Chaos, which just also links you to all the various physical copies of stuff that you can find at different places.
All right, and of course you also have a YouTube show twice a week as well, right?
I do. It's called the Vomitorium. I think our schedule is actually changing. From what I know, it's going to stay the same this week on Wednesdays and Saturdays at 6 Central, but I think the Wednesday show is moving to Tuesday from what I've been speaking to Marsupial about.
Oh, what
Same
time?
time, just on Tuesday. And so it won't overlap with your normal chill stream or anything, Rick.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
At least for me.
How long ago you might be coming up? You might be ending. As you're ending, I'll probably be starting my show at 6, 8 your time, 8 Central.
Yeah, I'm usually our show usually runs until about 7:30 Central, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then I guess this is your YouTube channel. All right. All right. Anything else you'd like to add?
No, I'm good.
All right. Rick?
Well, hello, everyone. I am Rick Piper of Cross Comics. Well, I do make my own comic books by doing part of it myself and hiring out part to other people. And I have a YouTube channel and on all other social media, but I'm going to share a link to my latest short video over on YouTube. So go if you can sub to me and all that wonderful stuff, and maybe on Twitter as well. And check out my website to crosscomics.ca.
And there's the link to his short, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. All right, and as you all know, I'm Mike Walters, the host of the Mikestand here. Of course, we go 6 nights a week. Sundays being our panel show where we bring you guys in, talk all things niche. Monday to Thursday, we have like a niche newscast, and then on Fridays, our historical comic retrospect, where we take a look back at some of the old some old comics and look at how they developed and were written over time. Kind of funny because like the other night, one of the other things that I was noticing as during the show was so when we're reading the Human Torch story, right? The Human Torch feature. Now this is the Android version. Now the general idea of the story was that you had the Human Torch trying to rescue this older guy, guy probably in his 50s, came up with a new explosive that he wanted to use for mining, but there were people trying to use it, trying to get it from him, for what he thought were purposes. Now the thing about it was that here's the thing. So this one character was probably in his 50s, maybe early 60s at the oldest. And he talked about, well, yeah, you need to get my formula back to my daughter. So in one of the panels, right? One of the panels, the girl looked like she was old. Like I was thinking, okay, his daughter should have probably been maybe 20s, early 30s at the oldest, right? In one of these panels, the way they drew her, she looked like she was like maybe in her 40s.
Oh wow!
I'm not kidding you. Well, yeah. I mean, what I'll do is I'll go back to that. Let's see.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he had her really, really young.
Well, it's possible, but well, no. Let's see. What do we? Maybe I'll pull that issue up to show you guys what I'm talking about here.
Uh-huh.
Let me see now. Okay.
So, do you guys have anything planned for July the 4th?
I'll be doing my show
Yeah,
as always.
Burgers.
burgers,
Burgers is what I have planned.
barbecued burgers, or
And hot
just
dogs. Yeah, we have a grill.
oh, cool, cool, cool. Well, seeing as how I'm not an American, I will not be celebrating the 4th of July.
Yeah, but you had your own little thing, didn't you?
Yeah, we
Dominion Day?
had Canada Day, or what was
Your
originally called.
discount holiday.
All right.
Now,
Well,
nowadays,
so this is from the Human Torch story. Now you have the Human Torch on the far left there. Scientific creation of the late Professor Horton, whose body burns into flames at his slightest wish. He's the android, right? Mr. Carson, this is the older guy, the owner of Carson Explosive Company. Kind of looks like maybe he's in his and some of the drawing, maybe okay, with this one he may be at the youngest late 40s, anywhere between late 40s. His daughter there, Diane, and then Mr. Riton, an agent of the planet Mars on Earth. All right, so look at Mr. Carson and his daughter right there. Now that looks like maybe, but
well, to me, well, I'm not sure how old he looks really, but she looks like she'd be at least in her 30s in that picture.
yeah, but basically now I think about it because I thought he had white hair, but a little bit he had a receding hairline, blonde hair there. But again, still to me, he looks like kind of looks like he's old. You see even the wrinkles here in the forehead there, and that one.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't look as old in these pictures here as he does in that main
He's
picture.
in the one in the middle there, and then the right.
Yeah, he's the one.
Now they have him with white hair, which might indicate
It could
more
be gray too, easy
gray,
enough.
gray and white, basically. But and it's showing you the pictures here.
Yeah.
He's kind of old. My point is, he's probably somewhere on out, maybe somewhere in his 50s if we had to really nail it down, right?
Yeah. Which could make her in her early 30s.
Yeah, but there is like that one right there, far right. Look at how they drew her. That one in the far right there.
Yeah.
The shading on it makes her look like she's older than you would think, 20s, or even as you put it, Rick, early 30s, right? The
Yeah.
one on the right there. Look at that. What far right there?
Yeah. Well, I think what happened is it's I think it's the eyes that are doing it. If you go back to that, it's like I said, I think the eyes that are doing it. and it's the one eyelash on her right eye, I think it is, the one closest to the side of the panel. It's the eyelashes that they put on her there. It's ending up looking like shading when it's supposed to be an. I think it's supposed to be shading when it's supposed to be an eyelash,
Hmm.
and that's what I think partly doing it. I think there's a bunch of contributing factors. Um, and I'm not sure whether this is the scan or something else or something that was on the
Yeah,
page.
I
There's
mean,
something on the
I was noticing how like it didn't seem to make sense because she looked significantly older. Like even based on from what we saw in the previous, when
yeah,
I was showing you some of the previous, like now granted they
yeah,
have them starting out look like when you go back up to here, right? So you can
yeah,
tell he's probably anywhere between late 40s and early 60s there. Depending upon the
yeah. Well,
coloring of the hair.
yeah, I would
Now, in that one, as
suspect
you said,
he's
she looks
minimum
maybe
of
early
50.
30s, 20s, early 30s. But then when you go down through it, okay, he's still looking like he's in his maybe late 40s. But then they go from him being blonde to like grayish white hair.
Yeah, well, I think that's unfortunately I think the coloring of the error
Yeah.
techniques that
See right there, he's now got
yeah,
like what
yeah,
might
that
be.
looks more grayish or white there.
I don't know. I could easily see a 20-year difference between these two people.
Yeah,
Yeah, but still, I mean,
that one panel does make her probably look in her 40s.
Especially
But
given the time. Like my grandfather is almost exactly 20 years older than his oldest child.
yeah, I mean, I know that there are people who'd have like kids at 20, and then when their kid is 20, they be 40, and I get that,
well,
but
there'd also be well, maybe not so much for guys, but girls. There's ones that would probably 15 to 18 easily back then having kids. So that's her father, which is different, um but I think it's also the way they did the lips. But I was gonna say under her left eye on her cheek, just almost across from her nose. I'm not sure whether that's supposed to be a line or it's a smudge of something getting on the thing. That little line there or shading, I think that's contributing, and maybe even the line that's coming off of her ear on the right too.
yeah, because it makes her face look like it's kind of been indented a bit. But
Yeah,
then you look at some of the late around a little further out, so it's like harder to
yeah,
tell what her features are. But at least in some of these other ones, these later
yeah.
ones, she does look like she's probably like 20s, maybe early 30s at the oldest.
There's still one of these that make her look a little bit older than the 30s. If you go up just, I think, a page or two, I'll tell you when to stop. Keep going. Yeah, just down. Right there. The middle panel. Just that side view. There, I would think she looks a little bit close to 40 or in her
Yeah, a little
40s.
older there. Yeah, but basically, I just didn't think there should have been figured there should have been at least like a 20-year difference in look. If the guy is looking like he's in his 50s,
Yeah.
maybe early to mid 50s at one point there, that he should maybe be early 30s at the youngest or at the oldest.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
But anyway,
obviously, most of the time they're looking about the right difference apart. But again, we got to remember, um, it was probably just the artist. I'm not sure who the artist is here and how good or not good he or she is supposed to be. You know.
anyways,
Hey, Jr.
old chick need
Love it too.
do loving too. Okay. Well, the point what I was making was I don't think she was supposed to be an old chick, as it were. You
Yeah.
know, that was my point, and the way they drew her though made her look more like at least a couple. I saw one and Rick and we were looking at it there. Saw that there was
Yeah. And then I guess that is a perception thing too. What we all think, a certain age should look like, you know, people seeing me wouldn't think that I'm 50, you know,
No,
you
I'd
know,
probably scroll a decade off of you, Rick.
yeah, at least I've gotten in my around
with
30,
my long hair and with it graying. I probably I'm like 47 going on 48, and people probably say I look pretty much my age. You
Yeah.
know, it's usually when I get my hair when I go and get my hair cut, which I will be doing Wednesday here. When I
Yeah.
get all this
Well,
bush taken off, that I do look kind of a bit younger. But
well, I think the other thing that would probably help you look a little younger is the no beard, especially since there's a lot of gray in it, gray or
yeah, I
white.
mean, well, I'm basically Rick. When I get my hair cut, most of the time, I barely take it all off.
Yeah.
So it's all coming off.
You all look old. Yeah,
Just for 2 bits.
old compared to what, JR? I know, I know, and I've it's been that way for most of my life, since all my adult life, anyways. And I've looked younger than I actually am.
Yeah.
So,
So yeah.
but my point is, it's a perception of thing of what we look. People in their 20s can look like what we would perceive to be in their 40s or 50s, and then you can have people that are in 50s or 60s looking like they're in their 30s.
Hmm.
You know.
And then you have some 15, 16-year-olds who look like they're 20 too.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm trying to do the big thing. And usually the 16-year-olds or whatever, that's a lot of makeup and all that that's doing it. I'm saying without makeup or anything.
Right.
I was 27 when I stopped getting carded to see R-rated movies at the movie theater by people that I went to school with, and they forgot that we were in the same classes.
I guess you didn't make much of an impression on your classmates there, Metal.
Well, what's weird is everybody in town knows me. Like, even they knew me. They just forgot we were in class together, and they thought I was much younger than them for some reason.
Were you like huge into games and anime and all that? At that point in time too.
Yeah, but not like outwardly. Like, you wouldn't know that unless you held like a really long conversation with me. Because I was into everything, so I was always running around doing everything. I wasn't like in any clubs or anything for that. In fact, I honestly could not go into the anime club because just the conversations they were having were frankly retarded.
Retarded.
Yeah.
All right. Just a little note. I'm not.
Oh, is that a no word?
Yeah, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Granted, I'm not gonna cancel you over it, but I just prefer you not use that. To me,
No, that's fine. That's perfectly
to
fine.
me,
It's one of those
I just want
habitual
you to
words because I
understand.
grew up in the 90s.
Yeah, to me, that word would be the equivalent to using the N word for a black person. So, just to give you a heads up on that, so you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyways,
But yeah, I could not jive with their conversations, honestly. So I never went into their club. Plus, half the time they weren't even doing anything but playing Smash Brothers. And like, I can do that at home. But like, I was a very athletic person. I was always running around, mostly challenging people to stuff. But like, you wouldn't know that I was strictly into that stuff unless you held a conversation with me. So like, everyone got along with me back in school. It's just these people, they forgot that we had classes together, and they thought I was just like much younger than them, and they were still carding me. And I'm like, dude, we had AP chemistry together. What are you talking about?
AP Kim, are you a genius or something like that?
Oh, AP classes are easy.
Well, that's if you're willing to do the work.
Well, I refuse to do homework, but I usually got like A's on every test. So like my grades were but they could have been higher if I bothered to do anything.
Sounds like
Because I
me.
was, I was being pulled up entirely by the tests. I was always a really good test taker.
Well, I never got the A's or whatever, but if I would have put in my little bit to do the work, I probably could have got better grades too. Easy enough.
In fact, some ways I was anti-scholastic because I didn't have enough time at home always to work on the projects I wanted to do at the time. So I would like rotate and pick a class to flunk every single like marking period. You get like 6 marking periods in a year. And I'd be like, okay, I'm flunking this class this period, this class this one, this class this one. And I would use that class to work on my personal projects. And I'd still end up getting like a B at the end of the year because I had it all like worked out.
Yeah. So your teachers must have really been happy with you.
Oh no, my teachers hated it. They would always pull me aside. It's like, oh, you have so much potential. It's like, I don't care.
Yeah, so, anyways, so yeah, there were some interesting articles I came across over the past during the latter part of the week here. Let's see. And I guess we can kind of go over those. Yeah, unless there's anything else you guys want to bring up or talk about.
I know Tim's off the Rex's thing, so I'm not sure whether he's coming here or not.
I hope he will, because then we can talk to him. I can get we can talk to him about his experiences from other night.
Yeah.
I guess I'll wait a few more minutes then before we jump into.
Well, we could get on the article, and then if he comes in, get to that after. Don't want to have unless, like you said, unless we have something else to talk about right now, because don't want to have too much dead air.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Look at me talking about having dead air.
Yeah, Rick knows from experience.
Well, I know Diana has been frustrated with Chris lately. Apparently, I don't know if you saw that the other night. Oh wait, yeah, you would not have been on that one, Rick.
Yeah. Well, obviously, I missed Wednesdays with my net being down for a bit, which that just irks me. Well, not my net being down. Well, that irked me a little bit. I put up that video saying that my net's going to be down. And somebody actually put a thumbs down on it.
Well, probably because think about it though, Rick. Maybe they put a thumbs down because they that was their way of saying they miss you.
No. I have somebody that's been one or two people. I have one or two people that lately they've been a bunch of my shorts and all that. They've been putting a thumbs down on. In fact, my Canada Day one, 2 people put a thumbs down on it. I just
I'm surprised not more.
All right, so here's the first, and the 3 articles I'm going to talk about now. I think I went over on Thursday here, and they all kind of interesting in their own right. Nothing like super SJW stuff, just some release information, and then one of them was okay. So this one, Titan Comics announces new reimagined Cthulhu story, in small quotes, A Call to Cthulhu. And I know Cthulhu is a popular literary
character
story
from Lovecraft, right?
Yeah. So
I've never read that, but
yeah, it comes from originally the story Call of Cthulhu, which is what they're calling this too, which he never actually showed up in the story. It was only mentioned. It was his followers that was in. It's a very short story. You could read it in like a couple minutes or so.
Yeah, kind of a interesting creature with like a squid-like body and weird head or something like that.
Well, squid-like head with
Yeah, it
tentacles
was more of
coming
the
down.
squid-like head. He did look almost like he was on all four, but you could tell that the front legs were actually arms gripping the ground. As he was so big that his entire body was out of the water, meaning that like his hands and feet at no more than wrist or ankle deep was in the sea holding him up, and the rest of his body was out like a mountain.
Actually, as I've looked at the Cthulhu art here,
Yeah.
it reminds me of from the 80s, the Brainiac ship from the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Looks a little bit like that to me, anyways.
Might have had some inspiration since a lot of Lovecraft's work would have predate that. The also interesting thing about that word is that there is no incorrect way to say it because there's no correct way to say it. Lovecraft himself just pronounced it Cthulhu, which he said is how it would sound to him. But you could say Cthulhu, Cthulhu, just Thulu, Chulu. There, any way is technically correct because there's no correct way to say the word.
Well, I think I use Cthulhu myself. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've heard it Cthulhu.
yeah. So, anyways,
But yeah, Lovecraft always said Cthulhu, which is
Cthulhu?
the most different than you would expect looking at the word.
Yeah, I
So-
wouldn't even really know how to pronounce that looking at the word. But
Yeah. Titan Comics announced now. Titan Comics is a company I think over in Britain that distributes comics, from what I understand, publishes them, and I think Titan Comics is based over in Britain, from what I've heard. Titan Comics announced a brand new Cthulhu series titled "A Call to Cthulhu" from writer and illustrator Norm Conyu. And there's the image right there that we were just talking about.
yeah,
Hmm.
that
I
looks a
double
little bit
checked
like
for
Brainiac.
you. It is United Kingdom. It is a subsidiary of the Titan Publishing Group.
Okay. In the press release, the publisher describes the story as, quote, part comic book, part art book, part children's storybook. Okay? And takes readers on a, quote, fun, irreverent trip through the classic stories of H.P. Lovecraft, unquote.
Okay, I'm not sure whether that's a good thing when it says irreverent. Sometimes irreverent can be a good thing. Sometimes.
Well, when used in a more humorous manner, like when you're using
Yeah.
irreverent humor, that can be okay. But
Yeah.
the official solicitation states, quote, even cosmic gods fear an unknown caller. When Cthulhu, the great old one, receives a phone call in the middle of the night, he is not prepared for the conversation that is about to take place, unquote. So imagine this. Imagine calling a creature like this on the phone.
Imagine the size of the phone.
Yeah. Creator Norm Conyu teased the series, stating, quote, I'm really excited to get a call to Cthulhu out to a wider audience with the help of Titan Comics. H.P. Lovecraft was a bit of a serious soul. Would you guys say he was a bit of a serious soul?
No,
I know nothing about
actually,
him.
I wouldn't. I've read a lot of Lovecraft's work. He was definitely a deeply damaged soul. He was heavily paranoid, had a lot of fears, which influenced his work. But there's also a lot of humor baked into Lovecraft that if you're not aware that it's there, you might read right over it.
Now, I know when Tug, that umbrella guy, first came
Yeah.
out with some of his works, that, the little umbrella girl, he would often compare the comics he was doing as Lovecraftian. He'd call them Lovecraftian.
Okay.
So I don't know,
A lot of people use that term. I think because Lovecraft's cosmic horror was almost into the realm of the absurd, right? It was almost absurdist horror. And it was supposed to be because you weren't supposed to fully grasp what was going on. But anytime that you're truly working the absurd like Howard did, there would be almost like an irreverent humor to it, right? Because that's all you can get to it. There is no clarity. There is no you can't be too serious with things that are completely out of mortal comprehension.
Yeah. So we'll continue on now here. So let's see. Yeah, what we said. So after rediscovering his material many years after originally reading it, I had an enjoyable experience cooking his Cthulhu mythos and other tales into an irreverent pseudo storybook. I hope readers enjoy the experience just as much. Unquote. Pseudo storybook, interesting way to put it, huh?
Yeah, I can see it because even looking at this stuff, they don't look traditionally like comic panels. There is a comicness to it, but a lot of the words or narration or like he's actually telling the Call of Cthulhu story.
Mm-hmm.
So it reads almost like a children's storybook in a way. So I could
Yeah.
see that. It's like somewhere
Yeah.
between a comic and a storybook.
Yeah, there's just a few more words in a children's storybook.
Yeah.
It's almost like
could you maybe draw the comparison maybe to something like highlights?
Yeah, there was definitely some storybook-esque stuff in highlights for sure. Which I think this would be a good format for writing something that was originally published in a pulp magazine. I think this almost storybook comic format fits a pulp story probably very well.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say about it looking a little bit pulp like.
Yeah. A lot of Howard stuff was originally published as pulps, so it's a very fitting format.
Howard. So was that HP?
Howard Fillard Lovecraft. That's what the
Okay.
HP stands for, yeah.
Okay. All right. So continuing on then here, author H.P. Lovecraft created Cthulhu in his short story, The Call of Cthulhu, that was originally published in Weird Tales back in 1928. Even before we got started on our historical retrospect. But the creature was described by Lovecraft in the short story as, quote, a monster of vaguely anthropoid outline, but with an octopus like head, whose face was a mass of feelers, a scaly, rubbery looking body, prodigious claws on hind and 4 feet, and long, narrow wings behind. I guess something like that, maybe?
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Similar to what I was describing before, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too. It's octopus-like, but it's described as feelers, so you can't actually tell if they're tentacles or just something that your mind thinks resembles tentacles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they have a lot there. The question is with saying a mass of them, could there be a lot more all over his head? And it says face, it just doesn't say chin. So normally you see them
Yeah,
in the head, chin.
they could be in any direction, really. So, like any take on the creature, as long as it follows those very basic descriptions, is technically correct. And one of the things that Lovecraft was always trying to do is he was trying to depict things that could not be depicted. Right, so it was written in a way that your brain would automatically just start concocting this image.
Yeah. I think most people put them at the bottom where the chin is because of the octopus
Yeah.
reference.
Yeah. So, Rick, and I know I already sent the link to him when I sent him the message inviting him, but if you wanted to send the StreamYard link to Apex on Twitter, you can do that. And I didn't tell you that in the message earlier when I sent it to you, but because I know he
also,
said he doesn't always go to his Facebook as often, but that's usually where.
I'll send it to Timothy too.
Yeah. Matthew G. Rice.
Reese.
Hello. Hey,
Hey,
Matthew.
Reese.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah. I help him recently for a while now produce his Wednesday show and I'm buddies with him. He's a cool guy.
Okay. Well, hopefully he'll enjoy what we're talking about here. I'll continue on. I'll continue on
He
with
has a
the
question
article
for the
here.
panel.
Oh, you have a question? Who has a question? You do,
Reese
or
does. I'm gonna wait till it comes up.
I think he's talking about Reese has a question.
Yeah.
I have a question for the panel? Well, ask it, man. We'll be glad to answer it if we can.
And hello, Matt. And then it just okay, so we're basically done that
Well,
article
yeah,
again.
there's one more. I guess while we're waiting for Matt's question to come up, I guess we can finish off the reading the article there. I'll just finish. The hardcover book arrives on shelves on October 10th, 2023. It's 48 pages in length and will retail for $12.99. Do you plan on checking out this reimagined Cthulhu story?
Probably not.
Maybe. I like Lovecraft's work, so maybe. I'll have to remember about it, though. That's the bigger question. It was actually also reminding when you were saying, could you imagine a creature like that picking up the phone? There was an episode of The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy that was also called Call of Cthulhu, named after the original work, where Cthulhu was running like a one of those phone lines where they like call you while you're eating dinner and stuff and you're annoyed, telemarketing. But every single time they called somebody, it would spread and they would start like mutating and stuff. And even Billy started working for Cthulhu's like telemarketing line. And like Mandy and Grimm had to go and shut the whole thing down because it was like ruining their day or whatever.
Huh. Yeah. I hope Matt, again, I'll just say to Matt again, we'll try to answer your question if we can. We just need to know what it is.
Give him time.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
actually, here's a cool thing. It doesn't have that particular story in it, but I do have a collection of Lovecraft's works right here within reach. This one is the Dunwich Horror and four other stories, which the Dunwich Horror is one of my favorites of his work. But I
Actually,
highly
if
suggest
you want to
people
put that up, I'll give you the full
Yeah,
screen
so-
there. You want to show that off?
Yeah.
And Matt did actually give us a question. So let me minimize you again here, and let me see about this question, and then we will. Okay, so I have a web comic, and for several weeks I have been unable to get the recent updates, time and tide, and needs of the day job. That said, I have more than 700 pages in the archives. Should I feel guilty?
I don't think so.
No.
But you're also talking to somebody who hasn't updated his webcomic in like months, so
Your schedule is what your schedule is. I shouldn't say you should feel guilty. Just maybe let your if there's a way to let your audience know if you have a regular audience for it, just let them know. Hey, life has gotten a little hectic.
Yeah, and there's not much I could really add to that. Rick and Rick and Metal here are more the experts on that stuff than I am. I'm more just a commentator on on a lot of the neat stuff. So
Yeah, well, that and what comes your perspective too, Mike, because you would be a reader or something like that, and if somebody was producing a web comic and they hadn't put up some stuff in a while, for whatever reason, um, What
Yeah,
would you?
that part could be a little frustrating, but you shouldn't feel guilty because life happened. I guess there are times, and Rick, you and Metal know that I try to do this show like 6 nights a week. That
Yeah.
that can be
Yeah.
that can be quite draining at times, both physically and mentally. And you guys can probably tell there are times when I'm just go to the moon.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Well, I was going to be nice, and I was going to share the link to Matt Reese's webcomic, but my bookmark, which is forcesofgoodandevil.net, won't reach it. It gives me a DNS error, so I don't know. I hope everything is all right with the site, but I personally can't reach it right now.
What's the site again?
It's forcesofgoodandevil.net, unless they changed the domain since I last bookmarked it.
Forces.
Yes, Rick will try to get that for us.
Yeah. Could be a local problem for all I know, where I can't reach it. I haven't tried his other one, which was idealcomics.net, and that one
I can't
was
get it
giving me
either.
yeah, I was getting DNS error.
Yeah, I think that's basically what I'm getting too.
It might just be a temporary problem then. Just
It's okay, I'll
that I've
share.
seen
I'll go
those
get his
happen.
webtoon then.
All right. Well, while you guys are doing that, I'm going to step away from the computer for a moment. I got to go
Okay.
take care of.
Let's
Oh,
see.
no.
So recently, instead of he had a different story that was part of Force of Good and Evil, which was the senior year. So I can share that right here. There's the webtoon for it. She's been doing with Mrs. H, I think. Yeah.
And is that webcomic on your site, The Forces of Good and Evil, or Ideal Comics, or is it on something like Webtoons, Matt?
Oh no, he has it on his site, but he's also mirroring it other places. Like you could find some of it on Global Comics as well. Just anything under Ideal Comics. That's his brand.
Yeah. Like me with Cross Comics, and I do a
Yeah.
bunch of that stuff too. The
Yeah.
updates have been on Webtoon. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what you can do to let people know on Webtoons what's going on. I haven't put anything up on Webtoons.
You
I don't
actually
know.
can make like updates, like posts on Webtoon if you have followers. Like they actually do show up.
Okay. So you can
Yeah.
just do something text to give them an update or whatever.
Yeah, I don't know how people see that though. I don't know if they have to go specifically to your page or whatever, your profile, but you can do updates. There's like a feed and everything. Oh, he wonders if his hosting year is up. It might be. I don't know. You need to go check in on that.
Yeah.
All
A
right.
couple years ago, I paid for 3 years for hosting. That's probably going to be coming up next year for me too.
Oh, you know what? I think
No.
those updates only work if you're using the phone app, like both see and to post to it. Like you can only post the updates from the phone app.
All right. Well, here's I guess the link you just shared, Metal, right?
Yeah, that's the webtoon to his most recent part of the webcomic, which is senior year. His story's fun. It's about two different schools. There's a superhero and supervillain school that exists in this world, so the kids get sent there based on their aptitude. But the two main characters ended up going to the opposite school of what they wanted to be in life because of their aptitude tests, and they have to go through all the different shenanigans regarding that.
Sounds a little bit like Japanese isekai.
Yeah, to some degree. Or like, there's a lot of Japanese school stories too that you could kind of sort of throw into that. But because the site is having problems, let me see if I can get it. I know you can read the beginning of his story on Global Comics. He's got a black and white version of it. That is the manga size special.
And Matthew's saying, "Dad gum, I wonder if our hosting year is up. My business partner is in charge of that."
Oh, so he can't even check on that himself. He's gonna have to wait.
Yeah, he contact his business partner. Hey, our site isn't up. What the freak is happening?
Here we go. I got the link to the beginning of it. In case anybody wants to check it out, I actually even did the cover image for his manga-sized version, which he colored. I would have done that for him since I had the master file, but he didn't ask for it to be colored. I just gave him a black and white version.
All right. And this is the what now?
This is the beginning of the story of Forces of Good and Evil. If you want to start from the beginning and see how it was over on Global Comics, I think people should check it out. It's a criminally underrated series that like nobody reads. That they should.
And
I can say
Global
that about my
Comics
own
is a
stuff,
good
too,
site
but-
too.
Global Comics is a good site too.
Yeah, I think it was them a while back. I got a thing for possibility getting a subscription for like 60% off for the year.
Yeah.
They're putting out a promotion. I never took it, but it was like, yeah, I was tempted to, but I'm not sure whether I'd go over and read this stuff online or not.
Yeah.
Mighty Geek here. Hey, Terry's here. Hey, Terry.
Hey.
Hey,
what's up?
Not much.
this guy.
Well, now that you're here, would you like to introduce yourself and share any links if you'd like?
Hey, what's up? Not much, just bad weather.
You're what? Are you on the East Coast?
What's up?
Huh? I'm just trying to think of where the bad weather is.
I'm in the Midwest.
Oh, in the Midwest. Okay.
We got rain here too, or a lot of it. We had.
Well, that's got to be kind of refreshing, considering what was it, about a week or two ago? Didn't you guys have that whole atmospheric situation where it's like, I guess, the fires and ash are getting all up in the air or some of that?
I didn't see it here in Hamilton. I know there's been advisory warnings and all that I've heard of, but it's like, as far as I can tell, it hasn't affected Hamilton. But other things say that it has been. But
No. It came from Canada. Just the
Well,
other side
here
of
in
Canada,
Chicago,
and
there
then
was also
we
supposed
got
to be a
it.
NASCAR street race.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, near Ottawa and all that, there was forests burning too, and even up Thunder Bay area, I think, too. So it's weird.
True, but I got the quote for the B&W.
Oh, he's talking about the cover. I gave him a quote for black and white because he was doing a manga size one. He didn't tell me he wanted a color. I would have gave him a quote for color.
Hey, Terry, are there any projects you're working on that you want to tell everybody about, or? He's just drawing away.
Terry,
Yeah,
Mike asked if there's any projects you want to tell anybody about that you're doing.
not yet. I'm still. I'm just.
All right. Well, with that, why don't we go ahead and get to the next article?
Yeah, it
And
looks like
this one was kind of interesting. Caught my attention when I covered it the other day, and I think even you guys might get into this one because this is a very interesting. or then I think you can find this on YouTube too at some point, but I wasn't able. Well, so Popeye takes on Soundwave in fan created in small what Popeye meets Transformers stop motion animated short. Article by John F. Trent, published back on June 28th. So in the crossover no one saw coming, Popeye the Sailor Man teams up with Bumblebee and Optimus Prime to take on the villainous Decepticon Soundwave. So there's a scene from the I guess a stop motion animated short. Like that's Popeye looking like he's kind of hanging on Bumblebee's arm right there.
No, he's looking through a spyglass. Telescope. Well, it's probably spyglass, telescope, whatever. Handheld.
Yeah, the stop motion short was shared to social media by its creator, DM Galloway, and features the voice acting of John Bailey. And then I guess this from his tweet right here. Popeye meets Transformers. There's more to this Sailor Man than meets the eye. Voiced by Epic Voice Guy.
Oh, that definitely seems like something I'll try and check out afterwards.
I meant to the other end, and I forgot about it, and then I
am what I am, and it's all that I am. By the Sailor Man.
As you can see above, Bumblebee and Popeye are ambushed by Soundwave, with Soundwave appearing to make short work of them, blasting Bumblebee off screen, and then giving Popeye a big kick in the gut that sends him flying into a conifer tree. Now, for those of you who don't know, a conifer tree is basically it's a pine tree that kind of looks cone shaped, as I recall. The tree then whips Popeye back to the feet of Soundwave. A classic animated thing, huh?
Trope. Yeah.
Yeah, trope. Where he pulls out one of his gun, I think it's supposed to be guns, and attempts to execute him. The blast impact sends Popeye flying into a nearby rock where he attempts to gather his senses. Fortunately for Popeye, Bumblebee recovers from Soundwave's initial attack and lays down some cover fire. Soundwave brushes off Bumblebee's attack by deploying one of his spy cassettes. And look at that can of spinach right there. However, Bumblebee's interference allowed Popeye to bust out his secret weapon, a can of spinach, which he quickly gobbles down, as we all know.
Scrunches it, goes up in the air, and then down in his gut or through his pipe.
Yeah. The Sailor Man proceeds to pound Soundwave and begins ripping him apart. Now, can you imagine that Sailor Man ripping apart Soundwave?
Yeah, but I can imagine Popeye ripping apart literally anything that ever existed.
A voiceover from Optimus Prime begins playing as Popeye trounces Soundwave, saying, "I am Optimus Prime, and I send this message to any He is strong to the finish, and he eats his spinach. He is Popeye the Sailor Man." Toot toot. This isn't the first stop motion animation DM Galloway has put together. The animator has a number of stop motion videos on his YouTube channel, including Batman and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Superman versus Terminator 2, Batman versus Bruce Lee, and X-Men versus a Sentinel, and more. Trying to see if there's some kind of title shot so we, at some point we can go look at it later. Maybe we should just look up DM Galloway, I guess. Justice Assembled, a DGDX animation.
Yeah, probably if you clicked on that, you could click on the watch on YouTube. That'd take you to YouTube, and
What do you make
Yeah,
of
later,
that motion
after
short?
the show.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe put a link to this article so they can get to in the chat so that people later on can get to that.
On their own? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Matt
Tim,
says, Matt
that
says,
might be Tim right there. It just popped in because I saw that kind of. Hey, Tim.
Hey, how's it going?
All right.
Matt says, I have smoked spinach. Not good.
All right. So, all right. So we'll finish up this article, then I'll have Tim talk.
There you go. If
So,
you want a direct link to his YouTube channel, I put that in the chat too. It wasn't that hard to find.
all right. So let's see.
Hello, Metal. How you doing?
All right.
Hey, you got a full panel here tonight, Mike.
Well, we got like five. Well, yeah, we got like 5 people here.
Yeah. Well, for you, that's a full panel.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, which I like, of course. And just as a reminder, if you guys haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, so we can see if we can get some more friendly people in here. Also, if anything grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. We'll try to answer the questions to the best of our ability. So anyway, he even has a 3-part Justice Assembled film that features both Justice League and the Avengers. What do you make of this stop motion short that sees Popeye team up with Bumblebee and Optimus Prime take on? Well, we're going to try to look that up sooner rather than later, of course. Anyway.
Oh, well, you know what? I even just looked. It's not on his YouTube channel. It is only on his Twitter. It might go to his YouTube channel later. It's on Twitter first, which was the link in the bounding. Oh God, no! I was gonna post a link, but I can't because the Twitter link for the video is over 300 characters long. So yeah, just go to the Bounding versus Comic article and you'll find it. It's right there at the beginning.
did anybody fall victim to your tweet limit yesterday?
No.
Oh, it must
I
have just hit.
don't read that many tweets.
Oh, well, I didn't think I did either, but all of a sudden I couldn't see my.
Yeah,
my
well,
feed
I
for-
don't have to worry about it because I'm not on Twitter, and I haven't been on Twitter for like the last 3.5 years here. So
Yeah, well, for some of us, it's a necessary evil.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, Tim, how's your weekend going? I know you were on Rex's stream earlier.
Shocking surprises. We just lost Andy.
And granted, I don't really know who Andy is. These guys have said he's probably been on my channel a couple of times, but I don't. Name doesn't sound familiar to me. But
Yeah.
Well,
he was a good friend of mine, and we were squaring things up and getting ready to work on Melvin 3, and then he said he had gotten COVID, and then he passed away. I didn't even know about it until I checked my Facebook, and on his Facebook profile, his sister had posted something about it.
Oh wow!
My condolences.
Yeah.
All right. Well, with that, sorry about that. Send my condolences. Yeah, I don't know if I have. People have said I probably have interacted with them, but I don't.
You most likely have.
Yeah. Probably not a lot, but
Well, people are saying Andy A. Are there any other names he probably goes by that I might know him by? Or?
No, just Andy A.
Tim, do you have any of the artwork that he's done, like the teddy bear thing?
Yeah, I do. I have well, I got copies on me, but
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe show a picture that might
jog my memory.
Yeah.
oh, maybe let's see. I'll send you. This is something he actually the cover for Melvin 2 that he worked on and redid. I'll send it to you in your Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking more his character because,
Oh, I'd have to download something off my Google Drive.
just because it's Melvin too. I think Mike will more recognize that as your stuff, not.
Well, he's the one that kind of saved the project.
Yeah. Well, that's good for sure. So Tim's doing that. Any other articles or whatever?
Well, there was one article, but I figure with Tim here now, I guess if he's busy trying to set that up, I was gonna see if he wanted to, mention, talk to everybody about what we read the other night.
The Human Torch.
Yeah, the Human Torch and the Namor story.
Oh,
and I talked about that one panel with the girl in it already a little bit. But if you want to give your impressions on that as well,
it's interesting to see how Marvel was before Marvel was the Marvel we know.
Yeah, and what I remember, one of the big things that you kind of keyed in on was how, there were creators back then who were trying, even though the rest of America was trying to stay out of World War II, it would seem like there were creators who were thinking we should actually be getting more and more involved in it.
Well, there was either a story where they hinted at something like they'd have a dictator that looks sort of like Hitler, but he'd be like a South American dictator, or they would just full out have a character over in Europe fighting the Nazis.
Well, and that was in the Namor story, though, where we actually did mention Nazis and U-boats and all that.
Well, there was also a story where there's a character who was over in Europe fighting against the Nazis.
Yeah. So, yeah, but was that it? Is there anything else you wanted to add to that, Tim? Or
no, not really. It's a pretty standard old story. It's
all right. Well, then I guess we will move on to the next article. Then we are just past the hour mark, so but we'll move on to the next article here. Of course, I need to. Yeah, and I think I already read that last one. What do you think of? Yeah. Okay. So now this next article that I also looked over is probably one that pretty sure Metal would be pretty interested in because, of course, he's a big. I'm not going to read the whole article because much of it's just going back and just talking synopses, a bunch of older movies. But I'll read the key parts and you guys can comment more on it. But this is the other article that's kind of caught my attention. More of a release type. All right, so Crunchyroll to add 15 Dragon Ball movies to their anime library, including Dragon Ball Dead Zone and Dragon Ball Super Broly. Article by Nerdigans published back on the 28th here. So Crunchyroll is expanding their library with 15 animated features spanning 3 decades of Akira Toriyama's acclaimed Dragon Ball franchise, from the 1989 Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone to 2019 blockbuster Dragon Ball Super Broly. Crunchyroll announced that all 13 Dragon Ball Z movies will be released in 3 batches. The first one, which has been available for streaming since Thursday, the 22nd of June. Fans should expect the second and third batches to release on the 29th and 6th of June. The movie
29th of June, 6th of July.
6th of July, yeah. The movies will be available in the United States, Canada, Latin America, Australia, in New Zealand. The announcement further declares, pointing out the viewers will be able to enjoy them in Japanese dub with English, Brazilian, Portuguese, and Spanish subtitles. Despite offering the Japanese dub, fans have reported Crunchyroll's Dragon Ball movie collection consists of the old Funimation remasters and not Toei Animation updated edition. Now, I actually have to step away from it. You guys want to talk about this?
Want to share the screen so I can show you?
Okay. Yeah, that. Let me do that. I'm gonna go away. If you want to talk about this for a moment, I'm gonna go off camera here. I really gotta go.
Okay.
So here's an example. Here's Andy's artwork.
Yeah. And there's his teddy bear type character.
Yep.
Interesting.
This was supposed to be the crossover between Alice and Pandy.
Did he actually finish all the artwork on it or not?
Yeah, this is the ash can.
Okay. So people will be able to get this with Melvin 3, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, once I run out, there won't be any more.
Yeah.
Just like once I run out of buttons and sticker, well, once I run out of buttons, and doggy punch soda stickers, those will be the last of those too.
Yeah,
Has a
we'll
very
have to start passing on levers when you're out of buttons.
Yeah. He has a very underground kind of style, like those old, kind of like Mirage Studios. If you remember, they had those. They had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but then they had the other comic book series that weren't Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
The way he draws his mouths, actually, even a lot of it just reminds me of like a Sexual Lobster.
Never heard of that.
You don't know Sexual Lobster? Okay.
No, I don't. I don't. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure whether you want to.
No, they're animators, you know?
Oh.
I swear you know their stuff. You've seen MethWorks before, right?
What?
I think I did see that. Yeah, is that them?
Yeah. Sexual Lobster's the one who does MethWorks.
That has to be the dopest design for a character ever, though.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. It's kind of like this is what we would have gotten from him if he was still here.
You have to let Mike see that image, that one or the page before, so maybe he can recognize the character or whatever. But then again, I don't think he's ever shown anything, or he may or may not have seen.
I think
So-
he has. I mean, if you go to his Twitter profile, it's on there.
Yeah, well, Mike's not on Twitter.
He should consider going back to Twitter. I mean, I don't think he.
Nah, he's not missing anything.
Yeah.
The problem is, like, I used to recommend people to go on Twitter if they were promoting something or like they had things to promote, because it used to be the engagement machine, right? If you wanted to market yourself, it's not the marketing machine it used to be.
Well, this limit thing has really kind of put a damper on things, I think.
I mean, it might get back to it. I mean, obviously there's a limit, but the limit's a temporary thing. It's just to hunt bots.
Yeah.
But it'd been going downhill on the marketing trend since 2017 or 18. It hasn't really been the marketing device it used to be. And it's been going downhill. Maybe with Musk, it can go back up, right? We've still yet to see that. It's kind of flatlined. But flatline's better than downhill. So maybe it'll go back up. But I won't start recommending people to jump on it again until I start to see that slow.
It was definitely glitchy yesterday. It was beginning to really,
Oh, yeah.
really cheese me off a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know whether I'll ever reach that. What is it, 600 limit? Which I think is.
Oh, it's higher than that now. It kept going up like every hour, until it reached like 10,000 for verified, and there was like, it wasn't a whole 1,000 for unverified, because the unverified thing went up slower, right? But you've got like 800, I think you can view. And it's still not a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, but you know, like the thing is, you have to scroll through so many messages. Maybe the ones you scroll through, you're not interested in. Do they count for view?
It counts when it is viewed, but when it comes to the scroll, I believe it has to be on your screen for longer than 2 seconds to count as a view.
Okay.
So it depends how fast you scroll.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of slowed down on my tweeting.
Yeah.
Here's Apex.
Hey.
Hey.
Yo,
Hey.
Apex.
I'm
Hey,
Mo.
Apex.
I'm Mo.
So
Ice
what you
Cream.
hunting this time?
This is the Ice Cream Social. Since they're not having it this week on Hot Dog Channel, we're having it on here. So there you go. My tribute to the Ice Cream Social. Here.
All right.
So why have they postponed my second favorite YouTube show?
Because Yucky Gum is out of action somehow. I don't know where. We don't know where he is.
Oh.
He's missing. I don't know what happened. Gable, I asked Gable, you guys having an ice cream social? He says, no, we're missing a person. So I'm like, okay. And then I heard Rex say,
finally got him.
Yeah, they got him,
the
man.
Yucky.
They got the Yucky, man.
Well, Apex, how you doing, man?
Fine. How are you guys?
All right.
Good. Better.
You want to give a little introduction and talk about any projects you work on? Share any links?
One moment. Just give me a moment. I'll be right back.
After these messages, he'll be right back.
All right. Hey. Yes. Catch me on Twitter at Comics Apex on Twitter. And this July 8th on Apex After Dark, we'll have Matt Bauer on. Finally have him on. So it'll be a very exciting show.
Oh, yeah, this Saturday.
At 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Not midnight. It's 8 p.m. Central or 9 p.m. Eastern. Or if
6
you're
p.m. my time on the Pacific Coast.
on the Pacific Coast, yeah, that would be like 6 p.m., right? 5 p.m.?
So that's Apex. Apex. I mean, that's Apex, not exactly After Dark.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're on the East Coast, it'll be dark.
It might be just getting dark.
Just getting dark. Apex
Especially
just
with
getting
it being
dark.
summertime now. Also, you're gonna be co-hosting with me on August 25th for the historical
mark it on
comic
my
retrospect.
calendar. Yeah,
So-
I'll do that.
Yeah. So this is our
25th.
updated schedule for a co-hosting.
Yes.
This Friday, Rick will be on with me as we'll be going through Archie MLJ Enterprises from November 1939. Metal will be with me next Friday on the 14th, and we'll have RJ on the 21st. Tim will be back with me on the 28th of July, and then on August 18th, RJ will be back on the 25th, Apex, and then RJ again on the 29th. So all the other days are still open, of course, but we'll hit those once you guys have gone to your.
Now, will the August 25th, does that cover December 1939? What date?
Okay, let me think. Yeah, we'll probably be getting into that. Let's see. So this week with Rick, it's going to be Archie. So let's see.
Archie.
Archie, yeah, MLJ Enterprises. Then on the 14th, that'll be Harvey Comics. Or Harvey wasn't, but it was probably Brookwood. With Speed Comics and Champ Comics there. And then on the let's see, on the I think we'll be done with November by the 18th, I believe, August 18th, based on what I was. So let's see, after of course Harvey, then there'll be Centaur and David McKay on the 21st. And on the 28th, that will be Fiction House, Fox on August 4th. Lev Gleason on the 11th, and the 18th will be Quality. So yeah, so when you come back on the 25th, we'll actually be starting up our December of 1939 coverage. We'll be looking at some of the stuff that came out from DC that week. So,
DC.
DC 1939.
December
I believe
1939.
one of the stories we might be covering might be the Superman story, because I think that's, if I'm right, if that's Action Comics number 19, that'll be one of the 6 appearances of the Ultra Humanite, his first major recurring arch villain. So I have to double check that as we get closer, but but that's basically, yeah. So
Nice.
anyways, so was there anything else you wanted to promote, Apex, or are you good?
Yeah, I am promoting my dadgummit, where is it? Yeah,
I think I gave you a wrench too, so you can share links if you want.
yeah, Apex Comics Cavalcade Ashcan and Apex Comics Golden Age mini comic set. $10 each, or 2 for $20 with a bonus gift. It's postage paid. You'll get like a backup print with it, but with a bonus gift, you'll get something original. You pay the $20. So yeah, I'll put that in the description pretty soon in the chat.
All right. So, all right. Well, with that, why don't we get back to the article we were going over? Sorry about before. Basically, it's, sometimes you get older and things happen.
That's right.
Anyways, so back to what the article here then that we were going over. All right. So, quote, despite being sub-only, these use the old Funimation remasters rather than the newer Toei ones. Unquote. Twitter user @AnimeAJ claimed. Quote, so you get subpar audio quality and overly contrasty and saturate visuals. I wonder if DBS Broly will be tinted green too when they get their laugh out loud. Yeah, I did hear about. I heard about that. I guess it's a particular one that was done over in in the Singapore and all that.
Well, I'm obviously not a big anime fan. I haven't really watched Dragon Ball, but it's probably what they were able to acquire the licensing for. So it is what it is. I will say, and maybe it's bad, but
think aside from myself, I think Metal is probably the other anime expert here. He might have more to say on it than even I would have.
Yeah, I just don't get how they only get the subs and Funimation's remaster. I hate Funimation's remaster. I don't even hate their dub because they haven't done any wacky things to Dragon Ball. But the visuals to me, while they try to digitize them, clean them up, don't look anywhere near as good as, like, say, the original Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z visuals did. So I don't get that. I would rather have Toei's, where all they did was flush the color out a little bit more. When they did their remaster. It's also weird that they're starting the movies at Dragon Ball Z, so there's 3 movies they're missing, which would be Dragon Ball, Curse of the Blood Runes, Sleeping Princess and the Devil's Castle, and Mystical Adventure, before Dragon Ball Z even starts.
Yeah.
So there's Apex's stuff right there for those who might want to check that out.
Got to put the link in, but here's the link.
All right. And as soon as that pops up, of course, I'll I'll highlight that. And there's the link for it.
Yeah, to pay him to if you want it. And make sure to include your address since it's going to be
Please.
mailed to you.
Yeah, it's going to be mailed
Otherwise,
to you.
And I thank everybody for the likes and shares. If you haven't already, if you guys can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people to watch the show, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything that we talk about grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions, and I will do the best I can to, or we will do the best we can to answer those questions.
yeah.
So anyway,
And,
go ahead.
if you're in the, I was just gonna say, if you're at the audience and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to Mike's channel. I'm sure he'd love it. He's producing a lot of good content all the time. So
Mhm.
Just trying to get my commentary on what's going on in the world. Currently, fans can stream Dragon Ball Z Dead Zone, Dragon Ball Z World's Strongest, Dragon Ball Z Tree of Might, Dragon Ball Z Lord Slug, Dragon Ball Z's Cooler's Revenge, Dragon Ball Z Return of the Cooler, Dragon Ball Z Super Android 13 on Crunchyroll. Let me see here.
Now I remember why I don't subscribe to Crunchyroll.
I'm going to read through all these again. But I'll just kind of go through some of the pictures. And then
Lord
again,
Slug, Cooler's Revenge.
of course, I'm sure that if Metal has anything he'd like to comment on these.
Yeah. I've seen all of these movies.
Return
So have I.
of Cooler.
So
It's
have I.
even cooler.
I'm sure they showed a lot of these movies on
Okay, Rick, that's enough for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's a funny one too. So Broly recently in America has been recast. Originally, it was Vic was the voice of Broly in all these
Right.
older movies, which they won't be hearing anyway since it's only with subtitles.
Right.
I don't know. That probably makes Funimation happy. But yeah, if you go back and rewatch the English dub of any of these older movies, the three that have Broly in it, you'd be hearing Vic's voice screaming the word Kakarot at the top of his lungs.
Yeah. So, anyways, so those are the three. Yeah, we kind of went through three articles. I know some of you guys got in late, so you didn't. But one of the other ones that we were like looking at earlier was the Popeye versus Soundwave stop motion animation. That one was pretty.
I think we'd all prefer Bambi versus Godzilla.
True. Because
Yeah, that's real short
Popeye versus Soundwave, that's a mismatch, and it wouldn't be exciting to watch because we already know who's going to win.
Popeye.
Exactly. Exactly.
My favorite death battle.
He's strong
that
to
never
the
happened.
finish.
What would that be?
So in Death Battle, there was one that Nick Kramer, who he got let go a couple years ago, but he's been on Screw Attack from very early on, and he worked with the Death Battle team. And there's one he always wanted to do that they just never let him do, and it was Hermione versus Juggernaut, which is a one-sided battle. There's nothing Hermione can do with any amount of magic to Juggernaut, but it's just one he always wanted to do for that joke. It would just be like immediately knee to her face and she'd be dead, because Juggernaut can't be stopped by magic.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that though.
I would too.
Well, that'd be as short as Bambi versus Godzilla, or
Well, it'd
Godzilla
be a
versus
little longer
Bambi.
because she could do some things where like she's moving herself, hop on a broomstick, move the earth, but eventually Juggernaut's just gonna kill her. There's nothing Hermione can do to kill Juggernaut.
It's a dead witch.
Exactly.
Well, maybe magic may not work directly on Juggernaut, but it is possible if you indirectly, like
Yeah, I mean,
let's
there's
say,
things
like,
you could try to
for
do.
example, turning the ground into like mush or something like that.
They've done that in Marvel Comics.
It's not going to work long term.
I don't know if it's the same one, but the one I liked was Joker and Harley Quinn versus Deadpool and Domino.
Oh, that was good.
Oh, that was cool.
That was cool.
Yeah.
Or Batman Catwoman versus Deadpool. I saw that one. That was fun. It was really good.
I just thought it was funny how she took out Joker. She shot through his head to get to the Joker.
They're such good actors in those little films.
Yeah,
Little
except
fight
for
scene.
Thor versus Superman. Their Thor was awful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's the one that I
Yeah.
had to complain
True.
about. Yeah.
I like the Wolverine versus Wonder Woman. That was crazy.
That was nuts.
What
That
about,
was nutty.
what about Wolverine versus Predator?
They had that,
Pretty
didn't
good
they?
looking.
Oh,
Yeah.
No.
I have to rewatch it.
Actually, if you guys, I think Meadow might have been here when we talked about this, and Rick might have as well. You guys remember a month or so ago when there was the whole hoopla over the Punisher and what they were doing to the Punisher, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
they
and
they don't seem
I
to
remember
understand.
one of the things that when we read the article about it, they compared the idea. Well, yeah, these people get upset about Punisher, but yet Wolverine does a lot of the same things just without guns, and yet they don't make as big a stink about Wolverine as they do with the Punisher.
Well, because they don't understand Punisher. That's why
They don't.
they don't.
Yeah.
They don't
No,
understand.
they don't.
They don't understand why what his motive is. What he does. What he does.
Yeah, Jason Aaron made a huge mistake. He should just not have written it at all. Just left it alone. Leave it to a person who's have more passion and focus to the character than some SJW does. You end up failing if you don't know the character.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny because essentially, what a lot of people would argue is that what Jason Aaron did to him was essentially emasculated him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And as I said at the time, a lot of the stuff that he wrote just didn't make any sense.
No.
Mm-mm.
That's the other problem.
See, to me, the Punisher is a character that he has nothing to lose. Everything's been taken from him already. So it's literally all he does is kill criminals because that's all he's got left.
Yeah, and they brought his wife back to life in order for her to divorce him at the end of the issue.
Right.
Divorce him, take everything he has, and just totally just go into the whole full-on emasculating him.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, that makes no sense. As I said when me and Mike read it, it's like, how can you divorce somebody when you're coming back from the dead? You're not married anymore.
No, you're
by
not.
law.
No, you're not. By law, you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
So he's already got everything and done it, and everything he's got is illegal. How are you gonna give it from?
You ain't getting. First of all, you're not getting anything.
Frank
And
Castle,
besides,
are you getting
besides
divorced by
everything
your
the hand
zombie
owns
wife?
is ill-gotten gain anyway.
I was gonna say, what they gonna say, Frank Castle, are you getting divorced by your zombie wife again?
Your zombie wife?
Isn't that what she is? She's like a
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, at least they left the kids out of it. They're already dead.
At least they left the kids out of it. That's the only good thing about that.
Honestly, they didn't understand that was you just took away his whole purpose of existing was the fact that he lost his wife and kids.
Yeah.
Well, the kids were still dead, so that was sort of there. But yeah, his wife. But he could have got remarried to her, But it's just
just to divorce, just to have her divorce him again.
Stupid.
Or divorce him. I mean, that wouldn't make sense either.
Now the Punisher has a new reason to kill.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it makes more sense than just having her divorce him when they're already separated. By law.
And then think about this too. Think about this too. With this little bit of necromancy going on here. If they were to get married, then wouldn't if they were to, let's say, consummate that union, wouldn't then that make Frank a necrophile?
No, because she is alive again. She's not dead. She was dead.
Here's the better question. How is he even divorcing? Till death do you part. You're separated. She died.
You
It doesn't
died.
matter if she comes back to life. You would have to marry again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was. I had said that before, and my point. That's about marrying him just to divorce him.
Yeah,
It's Frank Castle.
They would no longer.
Didn't hit me.
By bringing her back, they're no longer they were no longer married when she was brought back.
Right.
Because they had she had been dead for what?
Yeah.
Say what? A little over 30 years.
Yeah,
Well, let's say comic time, it was probably 10 years.
Yeah.
at least 10
Uh-huh.
to 15
Wasn't this
still,
the plot
dude.
of the Brady Bunch movie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's Frank Castle like, oh man, dead and emotionalist is just the way I like him.
They can't fight back.
Mm.
Hmm.
She can't now. She can't divorce him because she was already dead,
Right.
and
Well,
the
wasn't he
marriage was dissolved.
Wasn't he like erased from existence or something, and like no one could find him?
Well, I think what ended up happening is that
He got transported to someplace called Weird World.
where
yeah.
he goes around protecting kids, carrying around. Now he carries around an axe and just sits there with them in a shelter. You know, where he apparently doesn't kill anything or anything like that. He just, you know,
That's stupid. That's
Very.
the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
let's see. It's because Punisher is an American. Well, it's a little bit more than that with these guys. It's not just the fact that he's American, but he's a white American gun-toting.
He's a white American patriot. That's the whole problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Is he a
And
patriot?
there's the thing too. He couldn't even get remarried probably because like, I'm the Punisher. I'm going down to City Hall to file this paperwork. Oh, we're taking you to jail.
Exactly.
I mean,
Jail.
is he a
Dude, he wanted
patriot? I
to-
thought he was
Patriot,
just
Tim.
what?
He is. A
I'm gonna
patriot,
quote.
Tim.
I'm gonna
He is
quote
a,
the movie with Dolph Lundgren. What do you call 25 murders in 5 years?
Small
Good
potatoes for Punisher.
That is small.
No. He just has a deep-seated hate for corruption. That's where that
Exactly.
comes in. But
True.
other than that, yeah, he is a patriot.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's a
If
patriot.
anything, more so because he hates corruption. You know, like
Yeah.
Exactly.
He needs to visit Washington, D.C.
Well, I know that
He's a decorated soldier on top of all of that.
Wasn't he originally just a cop in the very original version of Punisher?
No.
No, me
He was-
and Mike looked
and
that up. He was a soldier.
The Duff Lundgren movie had him as a police officer.
Mhm.
And
But originally
then,
he was a Vietnam
Marine.
vet.
Marine.
Yeah.
Serving during the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Say
I
what
thought
you
that
will
too.
about
yeah.
the one with John Travolta. I thought that was kind of an interesting take.
Well,
on it.
in that one they made him an FBI agent. Same thing as being a cop.
Well, they didn't just kill his wife and kids. They killed like 3 generations of his family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what more motive do you have than you're pretty much the last of your family left alive?
But in my opinion, that was a bit overkill.
But the best part is he tricked them all to turning on themselves.
I know
That was good.
that was the
That was
fun,
good.
that was the funny part.
I kind of like that
Well,
one.
you know what I find funny. You know, SJW is the full phrase is social justice warrior. But based on what we see from them, I've got enough. You know, I would say they're more like stupid JA warriors. And you guys
Well, they're not
figure out
even
what
warriors.
JA
If they're
No,
in a
they're
real
not.
war, they'd curl up and die. They're social justice whiners. That's what they are.
or
Yeah.
What about?
I think they're
what
closer
about-
to bars.
That
and
works
stupid
even
JA
better.
Whiners, then stupid JA whiners.
They're upper middle class white kids who need to feel important, so they go around bothering everyone else.
Yeah.
I like Matt's statement here. The next step: Punisher, Cyclops, the odd couple.
I would actually read that. That would be pretty fun.
That would be fun to read.
If done well, if they get a good writer on it.
If done well, yeah, that would be a fun read.
Oh,
Like-
yeah.
Well, could you imagine Punisher and Deadpool together? It's probably been done, but
I think
It's been
Wait,
imagined, I'm sure.
I think
is
it
this
has, yeah.
pre or post X-Force Cyclops?
Post X-Force.
Oh, okay.
Post,
No,
I
no,
think,
pre.
yeah.
No, pre X-Force.
I don't follow X-Men nowadays, so I don't know what's
Because
going on.
it'd be perfect. He comes home with groceries and he sees like a dead mob boss in the living room. Goes, Frank, have you been working at home again?
Yeah.
Womp, womp, womp. Tell me you didn't kill the neighbors, Frank. I did not kill
Yeah,
the
this was
neighbors.
the
I did
ask.
not kill the neighbors.
Because I think depending on when in Cyclops' life this is, that's a not so odd couple.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like I'm talking about like pre X-Force, because then he'd be pretty much just a Boy Scout, like a kiss ass for
Yeah. That's why I had to
Yeah.
ask, right?
Yeah.
Because that would be the time.
Yeah.
So Frank,
Yeah.
use a coaster next time you put your beer on the table.
No feet on the table, Frank.
And somebody else's feet chopped off of their legs. You know.
Yeah. Those are not
Are you-
my feet. Those are not my feet.
Are you
Yeah,
interrogating
I'll
the
have you
bathroom
know.
again?
Not stuff goes off my clean table, you Neanderthal.
Are you interrogating in the bathroom again? Clean up after yourself.
Right.
Speaking of interrogations, my favorite one was when he tortured this guy with a popsicle.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, that was fun. That was a good
That was
movie.
that was too much.
Yeah.
The Dolph Lundgren one was pretty good. I liked that
Yeah.
on the Punisher
Yeah.
also.
It was kind of dark though. It's a little
Yeah.
bit, but lots of good
Interesting-
action.
The interesting was the preparation for it. Dolph Lundgren actually went days without sleep, and he insisted on actually being hit during action scenes.
Right.
Oh, wow. Yeah, make it
Like,
realistic. Yeah.
Shouldn't a Punisher movie be dark though? Like,
Exactly.
It should.
Yeah.
Is there a lighthearted version of Punisher?
Like,
No. Not unless
Yes,
it involves
Punisher
Santa.
2099.
Not unless it involves Santa Claus. Then no.
yeah.
It would have to involve Santa Claus for it to be lighthearted.
That would be a good Punisher release, Christmas release. Punisher
I know.
Psychotic
we
Santa
already got the
Claus.
next best thing. Violent Night was basically if Santa Claus was.
Oh,
Punisher.
Oh,
Punisher saves Christmas.
there you go.
shit.
The
Punisher
bad
saves-
guys are coming after Santa. And the
I have to
Punisher
mow
will
it
make
down.
them pay.
He just says like ho ho ho, and then he starts shooting them off.
Yeah.
Time to deck the halls with criminals' brains.
Yes. Marvel could do so much with that character. So many ideas we're throwing out right now.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a lot we could do. We could probably
Oh my
do
God.
with these characters.
That's a plethora of
That'd be-
material.
That'd be stupid jackass, excuse my French, whiners. You know,
Hey, Shadowhawk.
yeah.
No, I think
hey,
what
Shadow.
they should have, if they wanted to like end the Punisher, they should have done it right. Like
Mhm.
take all that crap they did, throw that away, and have it to be where he goes out in pretty much a hail of bullets, because that's probably what a character like that would do.
So
That's my-
Shadowhawk is dropped in here. Thanks for dropping in, Shadowhawk.
Yeah.
Hail all, dropping in to like and say hi. Gotta hit the shower and get to bed. Have a great stream and a good night. All right. And it looks like we lost somebody. I guess Terry.
Yeah, Mighty.
Am I right though? Am I right though about the Punisher? That's how they should end. That would be a proper ending for the Punisher.
Well, I know there's a lot of talk about they should have ended the Punisher like 15 years ago. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
long
well.
before this SJW started.
Mm.
Well, he's a beloved character, if you will, for lack of a better
Yeah.
way of saying it. So it's just like Spider-Man or any other Marvel character. That as long as, well, at one time, as long as they're going to make him money, they're going to keep producing stuff.
I think the
Well,
best part about
there was
about-
that theory that was thrown out too, where they were talking about the
Mhm.
idea maybe in a year or two they might bring Punisher back too.
Yeah.
well,
Well,
what I was going to say is the thing that's identifiable about the Punisher is he's a force that you cannot bargain with.
No. That's
Yeah.
right.
you know, they can bring him back slightly different. You know, maybe they can bring back Punisher 2099 in this Frank Castle's place.
Or maybe they could just bring back the Punisher and end the character correctly instead of with this garbage.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Or
Yeah,
hear
step
me
up.
out. Hear me out. We rewind all comics back to 1979 and start from there.
Why don't we
That
go
sort
back
of
to
sounds good.
Why don't we do a little bit of course correcting and go back to the end of the 90s? Like, okay, let's go from this forward and actually do the opposite of what we did at the
No,
2000s.
already too late. You got to go back to.
Well, I
If-
think with DC, you could go back just to before they did that, massive reboot. What is it? The New 52, just before they did that.
Oh, you want to
yeah.
go back to New Earth?
Actually,
Well-
for me personally, I think, at least, again, as you guys know, I've done most of my research on DC, and it's whatever comes absorbed into it. I would, for me, the point where we would start from would be after 2011, after, or just about the time when the Comics Code Authority had, for all intents and purposes, had basically been abandoned by all the companies, and just start from there, and then just kind of with the generational stuff, because
Because
like Crisis on Infinite Earths, when they try to merge everything together, that seemed like interesting.
That's good. That's a good run.
yeah. I thought things were going good for DC before. I think it was the New 52 before they
Yeah.
changed everything. And tried to crunch all their history into like 5 years.
Nah.
Yeah, that was the New Earth era, right? Because after
Yeah.
when you have Flashpoint, it becomes Earth Prime is the main Earth that we're in now that has all of the different sectors, and there's like there isn't 52 Earths, but because that wasn't what the 52 was, but there's like what
Oh.
20, almost 20 Earths or something like that all have their own history to it.
Yeah.
Even there's like Earth 11, where it's like, what if everybody was the opposite sex of each other from the beginning of time, and things like that. But
The gender bent universe.
yeah.
Oh.
So like, we're in Earth Prime now. You want to go back to New Earth, which was the post-crisis
Yeah.
in DC.
Which
Yeah.
I think was the one that basically pretty much existed right after Crisis of Infinity Earths. There might have been some minor changes over the years, but
Yeah.
It is essentially the same continuity because they were trying to just only have the one Earth, but then they started bringing in other ones again anyway.
Yeah, and I don't mind the multiverse. You can have your main continuity, and then you can have like Earth 2, Earth 3, whatever. I don't mind
Earth,
that.
Earth 22, where cats are dogs and dogs are cats.
Earth
Well,
26.
I know they did talk a lot about the idea of like the the DC Earth would be a lot larger than regular Earth because of all. Let me show you guys something here. Now, apparently,
Yeah.
it's the first time in a while that I've actually been to this site, and apparently, they made some changes to it. But this is called Atlas of the DC Universe here.
Oh,
Let
yeah,
me
'cause there's
show
more
you.
cities and zones and regions that don't exist in actual Earth.
Wow.
Mhm. Yeah, so I guess they made some changes here. Let's see. Yeah, so United States. So
Where's Paradise Island or the Mascara? It's
Lesbian Island.
let's see.
So here's the northeastern states in the DCU. So you have Bloodhaven, New Jersey, home of Nightwing. Calvin City, Connecticut, home of the Golden Age Atom. Civic City, Pennsylvania, location of the first headquarters of the Justice Society America. Cloister, Vermont, former home of Prince Rahman. Crossroads, New York, home of the Sovereign Seven. Empire City, Massachusetts, former home of the Golden Age Manhunter, Paul Kirk. Empire City was the setting for the Guardians RPG campaign. Fairfax, Maine, former home of Chris King and Vicki Grant. H for Hero, Gotham City, New Jersey. We all know that one. Batman.
I did not know Gotham was supposed to be in New Jersey.
I thought it was New York.
Yeah, well,
I think traditionally it has always been considered New York, but New York and New Jersey are kind of like intertwined.
yeah, and then Metropolis sometimes has been considered New York too. So
I'm imagining
Oh,
Batman with a New Jersey accent.
Oh Lord.
Although one of the original creators of Superman fashioned Metropolis after Toronto.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Wait,
Actually,
wait. What about Batman with a Brooklyn accent?
so Metropolis, New York, home of Superman. New Carthage, New York, location of Hudson University, where Dick Grayson attended university. The hometown of Amy Whitson, Princess Amethyst. New York City, which was the home of Green Lantern's Kyle Rayner, Guy Gardner, who was also a warrior. The headquarters for the DEO, former home of the new So Opal City, Maryland. So they expanded from the last time. It's been a while since I've actually come to this
Yeah,
site.
but even with this, it doesn't look like Earth is bigger. It's just got more cities. So I guess you'd have a slightly bigger population in, say, the U.S. or different
Yeah.
places. For stuff in Europe, maybe borders have changed. Like city borders might have changed in theirs.
So there's the Atlantic region states, Hillman, Virginia, home of the first Hawkindale, Leesburg, Virginia, home of Linda Danvers, made it. But could you imagine taking a road trip through these United States?
I would
You know,
like that.
huh?
I would like that. Yeah. Why not?
Yeah.
I would too. Quite honestly, I've often imagined it. Cities native to DCU are listed in red. Bell, you got basically Manchester, but Manchester was a real city, but has home to Impulse and Maps Mercury. The other Belle Reve, Louisiana, located with the location of the Belle Reve Penitentiary, home
Now,
and
here's the
Hot
problem I was thinking with Gotham specifically, right? Because while I live in Texas, I'm from New Jersey. Basically my whole family was from New Jersey. I was born up there. There's no room. Like you actually would have to physically make more land, like expand the size of New Jersey, because most of New Jersey is just back-to-back towns. It's almost like you're never leaving a city. There, like every single township is like a borough of a greater city, and you can go 20 cities over and never realize you left any of them. They just kind of
Yeah.
blur into each other back to back.
Wow.
That seems like close to
What?
Southern Ontario,
Yeah.
where I'm from.
Yeah, so there's no room to actually put Gotham there. You'd have to physically expand the amount of land that's already in that area.
Or
And
make
Oh, it looks like
the
Tim
cities
left.
there
It looks like
smaller.
Tim left us.
Yeah,
Looks like Tim left us.
yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
so this is one of my DC sources, of course, because I really get into the idea of, like, as you guys know, I've talked about this before, the idea, well, what would it be like if let's say I met Access and could actually, go into the DCU and, live there, hang out there, what have you. I figured that would be a very interesting thing.
Yeah.
Now, the
Yeah.
ones in Texas, there's plenty of room in Texas for more
Oh
cities.
my God.
Some of these
yes.
other states, there's plenty of room for them to be in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the smaller states that you have to wonder.
The smaller,
Oh,
older
yeah.
states too, because like the older the state, the more densely populated it is for the whole
Yeah.
state.
So in the Great Lakes here, so this is where they put it. So you have Fawcett City there, Fawcett City, Wisconsin, where that's home of Captain Marvel, of course, based on Fawcett Comics, and Hub City, Illinois, home of the Question Vic Sage. Look, it's at the very tip between what looks like Illinois, Missouri, and Kentucky, right there. Hub City is. Then there's Fawcett and Western, the Midway City, Michigan, original home of the, which is all the way up here. Now, from what I understand too, there was a time when they were saying that Midway City was also the home of the Hawks before I guess they moved to St. Roque.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking Hawkman?
That's right near Thunder Bay, I think, Midway City across the way in Canada. I think that would be Thunder Bay area. Or or it might be Sault Ste. Marie.
I feel sorry for Hub City though, because they're right next to Missouri. And Missouri is the only state in my countless times going road trips across the country where I know the exact second I enter and leave the state of Missouri without having to see a sign or anything. And it's because Missouri does not take care of their roads. Like,
Oh, damn.
you enter because you go from smooth riding on the neighboring states to like immediately.
Yeah, so you have like Superior City, Oregon here, which is where, which is right there on the border of Washington, the home of the Golden Age Red Bee, who DC picked up from Quality Comics.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then a lot of these, I think, would be surmised where they're supposed to be because I don't think most of these, except for something like Smallville, have ever been said what state they're in.
Yeah, it's true.
So you got Mesa City in Arizona, home of the Trigger Twins, I believe. Johnny Thunder and Madam 44. And I think I told you guys before that there wasn't. Well, I know I told somebody recently, but I figured you guys would know too. There's the Earth 2 Johnny Thunder who has a Thunderbolt, and then there's an Earth 1 version who is an Old West hero named John Tane. A Mormon, nonetheless.
I think Mesa City is actually supposed to be based off of a real place called Mesa, Arizona. It's just not a city. It's like if you would put a city in that location. Right? There people live there. It's just not big enough that you would call it a city. But there is a real Mesa, Arizona that exists.
So Pacific City, this location, not from the comic, and was a setting for the original Enforcers of Justice RPG campaign. Gateway City is the current home of Wonder Woman. Coast City, so. Anyway,
I was just gonna say I'm not sure whether they should even be considering the RPGs because I don't even think they're close to canon. But I could be wrong.
What is and isn't canon in DC?
Oh, let's see where the Fortress of Solitude is. I just gotta.
Nah, it's the Antarctic, isn't it?
Originally a large complex hidden beneath the Antarctic ice, after its destruction, Superman created a new Fortress of Solitude, and a tesseract, a fortress entrance, is hidden in the Andean ice fields. Superman keeps the relics of his homeworld Krypton here as well, and an advanced lab monitoring station, several Kryptonian robots.
Superman has since relocated his fortress to again. So this time to the Arctic. I always thought it was in the Arctic, except for when it moved into the rainforest. But Matthew says DC died in Final Crisis.
I agree.
Yeah, and then there's Markova in the middle of Europe, right there, just south of Switzerland, and
where Terra from the Teen Titans is from, as well as Geoforce.
Modora, which intersects the Czech Republic, Germany, and Poland. Okalista. Now, DC, of course, is not the only comic book company that sat there and created a whole bunch of new countries to help fill out their universe. I can tell you.
Marvel has too.
Well, yeah, but Quality did too.
Yeah, and then of course DC acquired Quality, so that goes into the universe.
Quality did too. When because, and I don't know if you guys have been on when I've read like stuff like Black X and Black X and the Clock. Well, Black X in particular, they deal with some countries like Tukoya, for example. So they would just make up a bunch of these countries as a way to kind of talk about Europe, but not talk about Europe. But anyways, and DC.
Yeah, I don't make up places. I only use 100% real places in my work.
Yeah. So, anyways, we are coming up on 2 hours here, so I think we had a pretty good show tonight. What do you guys say?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll start to wind down a bit here. So before we do that, of course, today is July 2nd, 2023. We're just past the halfway mark of the year. So it's time to look back at this weekend in Nietzsche history. History! Let me just review real quick, and then I will get it for a second. First 1998. First 1923. First, I believe it's 1983, right? And that we're done with that anyway. So, all right. So, with all that being said, let's take a look. So, first off, we're going to head back 100 years ago yesterday. On yesterday's date, 100. Okay. Multiverse and hypertime are just garbage excuses for, quote, my poo don't stink. Superstar writers cannot have to research to be accountable to it. Well, I don't know. I think when in older time, I think like in the golden age, I think sometimes, it did add a little bit more to the story. Sometimes if you would add a city in there, that's just my take on it. If you guys want to
Well,
share,
I don't think he's talking about the city. I think he's talking about the different timelines more than anything.
Yeah.
once
The
editors
continuity.
become superfluous, there is no need or mechanism for quality. R.E. Gotham in New Jersey. That is why it is on an island.
Yeah, Gotham's like on an island, which is I've seen many versions of Gotham that's on an island that's just out in the water, which then you could debate what state it actually belongs to. That's perfectly fine, right? It's a lot easier to add a massive land out in the water where there's not already tons of cities and stuff that you have to move around than it is to just like widen the space-time fabric to just put more land somewhere.
All right. Anyways, getting to so going back 100 years ago, yesterday, Pat Sullivan cartoons. Pat Sullivan cartoons would produce and release Felix Strikes It Rich.
I love Felix the Cat. He's my favorite.
Yeah. Originally, it was Pat Sullivan cartoons that were doing the animated shorts. Of course, these are all public domain, but they're not. There's no audio. There's no speak. These are non-speaking cartoons. This is
Yeah. Pat was the one who invented Felix.
Yeah.
Him and his wife.
So Felix organizes a dance contest for hens, but runs afoul of the chicken farmer because the hens aren't meeting their egg quotas. The farmer captures Felix and makes him dig his own grave before he, quote unquote, does him in. But at the last moment, an unexpected event results in Felix avoiding his death sentence.
Wow.
And doing that without speaking or without sound effects, that would have been interesting to see.
Yeah.
So that happened 100 years ago. That cartoon was released. Back in the day, I wrote a whole series of DC travel guides for Fanzine, the DC fan site. All right.
Oh,
Cool.
So,
You
anyways,
still have any of those articles, Matt?
Yeah, I'd say so.
1983.
Somewhere in his files.
All right. So, anyways, getting ready to move on to the next piece in each history from yesterday. On yesterday's date in 1983, 40 years ago yesterday, Studio Pero's Creamy Mommy the Magic Angel and Zuyo Enterprises, or Zuyo Aizo's Serendipity the Pink Dragon, both premiered on Japanese TV on yesterday's date 40 years ago today. So Studio Pero, Creamy Mommy the Magic Angel. Studio Pero is also the same company that did done Naruto, Yu Yu Hakusho, among others. And Zuyo Enterprises, Serendipity, the Pink Dragon, both premiered on Japanese TV yesterday, 40 years ago. So,
Hot diggity.
Dog.
Yeah, actually, you would probably know Fuji 8 too. Their TV brand is called Fuji TV, but they're called Fuji 8 because they were the 8th channel on Japanese TV, and they're still around today.
Yeah. So, anyways, and also happening 25 years ago today, or 25 years ago yesterday. All right, 25 years ago yesterday, Toyo Nobori, born Michiharu Sadano, passed away at the age of 67. Toyonobu was, of course, a wrestling legend of the 40s and 50s as part of the Japan Wrestling Association. He was a longtime partner of the father of Japanese wrestling, Riki Dozan. He was a 7-time All Asia Tag Team Champion with four of those times with Riki Dozan, 2 of them with another legend in Giant Baba, and 1 time with Michiaki Yoshimura. So on this date, 25 years ago, yesterday, or on yesterday's date, 25 years ago, the passing of Toyo Nobori.
Oh, okay. Actually, I know him because of his dad. Before his dad got involved in the theatrics professional wrestling, he was a amateur sumo wrestler that had made it pretty high.
Wait, you know of? Well, I don't see how you would have known of Toyo Nobori's father, because Toyo Nobori, he retired in 1970.
Yeah, but I know him from his amateur sumo wrestling career in the history of sumo.
All right.
There's a lot of the heavier weight Japanese wrestlers are also involved in sumo wrestling, and a lot of them what would happen is they would make it kinda highish up, but they could never really like make it. They can never win a grand tournament, so they try to find some other use for their skill set, and they ended up going into like the Japanese Wrestling Association.
Yeah. Okay. So Matthew's saying here, quote, I think you'll find that there were people named Felixes before there were cats named Felix. Nick
Oh,
Note.
Yeah, I'd believe that.
sure.
Felix the cat, the wonderful, wonderful cat. Right.
We gotta
Anyways,
make them go splat.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, anyways, now, so that's all of the for yesterday. So we do have one piece for today, as on this day, 20 years ago today, the 20 years ago, back in 2003, the 805th issue of Action Comics. This is the first volume of Action Comics. This is the same volume Action Comics started all the way back in 1938. On this date, 20 years ago today, the 805th issue of the first volume of Action Comics went on sale. The story was The Harvest Conclusion, written by Joseph Kelly, penciled by Pasquale Ferry, inked by Cam Smith, with art by Jason Trent Pearson, lettering done by Richard Starkings, and Guy Major did the colors. Any of those names sound familiar to you guys?
Yeah, a few. Mm-hmm.
Figured they
Richard,
might.
Richard
All right.
Starks.
So, was there anything else you guys want to say, or before we do the outros, or any comment you want to make on what we went over tonight, or anything like that, or?
That's great.
All right, so we'll wrap things up here. I'll give you guys all and we'll go. Like I said, we'll go and count. Normally, I go clockwise, but I figured I'd go do something a little different. So we'll do counterclockwise. We'll start with you, Apex. Go with Metal, Rick, and then I'll wrap things up. If you want to do any like outros, you want to again promote anything, share any links, you know the whole spiel, as it were. Go for it, Apex.
Okay, I got the Apex Comics Cavalcade Ashcan wraparound cover. Got 20 pages. You know, make me bigger.
I'm trying to. I don't know
Three-
why it's not letting me making you bigger though.
3 stories, 20 pages. You get the land shark, you get the Stars of
There we go.
Freedom right here, and a T-Rex fighter. All 3 rolled into one nice fit ash can. Also, the Apex Comics Golden Age mini comic set. You get 2 mini comics the size of trading cards. Madam X, which is a 32-page comic, and Nikolai Star, 28-page comic. Plus, you get a print in the back. And if you buy 2, you get something original from yours truly. So buy them today. $10 each postpaid, or $20 for 2, and with a bonus gift at the link below.
All right.
And catch me on Apex After Dark this coming Saturday, July 8th. I'll have Matt Barr, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern Time on my channel. Thank you.
Matt Barr, is that Bahr?
Matt 6 Bar. Matt number 6 Bar, or Matt 6 Bar, or Matt Barr. Bahr. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah. Of course, for those out there, this is the comic book artist, not to be confused with the former NFL pro kicker.
Right.
All right. So anything more, Apex, or?
That's it. We're good.
All right. And let's see. I'll give you the big. I'll give you the big screen as well. Metal, if you want to promote anything.
Yeah. Well, mostly the same first link that I did before, which is xdynamischaos.com/store. Even though you can enjoy almost everything that I make for free, because I'm such a nice guy and I just want people to read my stuff. If you're one of those people that like to support things that you enjoy and also just like holding things in your hand, you can go there and find links to physical copies of pretty much everything, including the book that I wrote, the original version of X Dynamis Chaos before it became a comic, or also any of the issues or chapters of the comic that have been finished to date. It's all there. They can't be sold on my site because I don't have the infrastructure for that, but they will link you to every place that you can buy a physical copy of, and it tells you what the price is before you go there, so you're not wasting your time.
Cool.
All right. Anything more, or are you done?
I guess people could check out the Vomitorium on Wednesday at at the Vomitorium podcast.
All right. Rick. Yeah.
Yo. Of course, I am Rick Piper of Cross Comics. Starting tomorrow, I start my week schedule. I will be live streaming 5 times a week, Monday through Friday. Tomorrow it will be high noon, so noon Eastern Standard Time. So come check out the show. I want to try and build up my watch hours so I can get myself, so I can have super chats and stuff like that. So.
All right. Anything more, Rick? Or
No, that's good. I'm good.
all right.
I'll put a link in thing to my YouTube channel.
All right. So then now it's my turn to finish things off. As you guys know, of course we're here 6 nights a week here on the Mikestand. I thank my compadres here for coming in and joining us in on the conversation panel. I hope we had a very good and entertaining conversation where you guys learned a few things here and there. Monday through Thursday, do a niche newscast, and of course, here's Rick's
YouTube channel link.
YouTube channel. Thank you. If you want to go check that out tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe to him so you can hear when he's on, so you'll get the notification. Also, Monday to Thursday, of course, here on the Mike channel, we do niche newscast where I'll go over, read articles from Bounding Any Cons and or like Bleeding Fool, whatever other source I can find, covering the world of niche, from anime, cartoons, comics, manga, pro wrestling. We do the wrestling wrap up, and of course, this day niche history. And then on Friday, that's our historical comic retrospect, where I have people guest co-host with me. We go over comics, we read them, depending upon, sometimes they'll join me and do some voices, and I know they find that fun. Tim's back.
Yes,
Hey,
yes,
Tim.
I have returned.
Yeah, well, we're about to wrap up, but I'll give you a chance right after I
Cool.
finish here. And
I
then,
didn't
of
think I
course,
took too long.
all right. I'm just wrapping things up. Just reminding everybody to catch the Friday shows as well, the historical comic retrospect. And as such, we're about to wrap up. But before we go, I'm going to let I'll even give you the big screen here, so they did it for everybody else.
Oh, I've been embiggenated.
You're
Melvin,
big time now.
Yeah, I know.
So
Melvin
go ahead and
3
go with the outro
available
and
on.
promote anything you like and put any
Yes.
links in.
Okay, Melvin 3 will be available on Fun My Comic July 29th Pacific Daytime. And January 2024, Melvin 0 will be available on Indiegogo.
Rick Ewing artwork on Zero. Yeah.
Yes,
Alright.
Rob Ewing.
Rob Ewing, yes.
The other Rob.
Yeah.
The one that
Don't
shows
let
feet.
him rob you.
Yeah.
Not related to the more infamous Al Ewing, I hope.
No.
Not even related to Patrick Ewing.
No.
All right. Anything more, Tim? Or
That's about it.
all right. Well, everybody, I thank you all for being here. I thank my co-host for joining me, and I hope everybody had fun, and I hope everybody found themselves a little more enlightened with all the information we disseminated. So with that, hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Oh, and don't forget this Friday, of course, Rick will be with me as we will be looking at Archie Comics / MLJ Enterprises books that went on sale in November of 1939. So don't forget that as well. With that, I thank everybody for being here. And I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.